Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in on your Sunday night to get an update on some of the things that are happening, that is happening around the state in both Stone County and in Jackson. And again, we're going to start in Stone County. A Stone County Sheriff's Office deputy was injured in a shooting earlier this morning. So that is an officer involved shooting. And so here's what we know so far. Now, Stone County Sheriff Todd Stewart says a deputy was attempting to pick up a suspect for a misdemeanor warrant on Carl Taylor Road. After making contact, an unrelated person was in the home and they ran from a deputy and they opened fire, hitting the deputy in the shoulder. Now, that deputy, of course, returned fire, striking the shooter in the leg. Both the deputy and the shooter were taken to local hospitals for non-life-threatening injuries. NBI is, of course, investigating that standard procedure when there is a deputy that fires their weapon at somebody. NBI does investigate to make sure that there's no foul play involved. Now, again, we'll continue to keep you updated on that shooting. And again, those were non-life-threatening injuries. They are expected to make full recoveries from their injuries. Well, switching gears back here in the metro, a local Jackson organization is hosting a gala in just a few hours in hopes to actually in just a couple of minutes just to get started, just to basically to help with the foster care system here in Mississippi. Now, the Brown Place Group Home is hosting a Save a Child, Change the World gala, and it's all to help raise funds in order to build a new foster home here in Jackson. This is what the setup looked like a couple of days ago as they were setting up for the gala. Again, the Brown Place Group Home, that is a organization that specifically helps foster children and basically try to alleviate the foster care system here in the Magnolia State. Now, the gala will feature a night filled with dancing, fun, laughter, and individual testimonies from local speakers who have firsthand experience of going through the foster system or even having a foster child of their own to take care of. And so those testimonies will be shared at Fondren Hall. As you can see, that's where the gala is going to be held. And the goal is to help raise money for a new home for foster children in the Jackson area.
This first annual gala is to help support our first project, which is the renovations that's taking place at the group home, so that we can get ready to open to receive children who are homeless and in foster care.
Now, the local foster care organization hopes to have that group home open by May of next year. So very exciting stuff happening there. Anna Nay joins us with a look at our forecast. We've been talking about fall-like temperatures, but it really felt hot today, really steamy.
For sure. It was pretty warm out there. A couple spots actually had high temperatures in the 90s, but we thankfully, most of us were seeing temperatures upper 80s to low 90s across the area. We're not necessarily getting back to that midsummer muggy conditions, at least not here in central Mississippi. It was 94 in Hattiesburg, but many of us were able to stick around in those upper to mid 80s across the area. We had a variable cloud cover, and that's kind of what helped to give us this variation. Otherwise, though, we had a lot of sunshine, and that was the main story here across the area. We had very calm weather. Totally different story out in the Atlantic. Yesterday, I was talking to you guys about Tropical Depression 9. It now has a name, I should say. This is a tropical storm, Imelda now, and it has affected parts of the Caribbean already, still bringing tropical storm strength winds and rainfall and things like that as it makes landfall across the central part of the Bahamas. However, this storm is going to continue to track towards the north. So while it's no longer expected to make landfall in the United States, it's still going to bring lots of heavy rainfall to the East Coast. In fact, just off of the East Coast, north of this storm, they're already seeing a lot of thunderstorms and pretty much just dangerous surf conditions across parts of the southern East Coast.
Oh, like a lot of rip currents,
things like that. Yes, wow. And just overall, there's thunderstorms over in the ocean. So the rip currents, the ocean swelling, potential flooding, especially in urban areas along the coast from Florida all the way up to the Carolinas, that's going to continue to be an issue. But the good news is that, once again, we're not expecting direct landfall. Spaghetti track models are having a better time with this system now that the storm has finally formed. So we definitely expect that to track out towards the east. Interestingly enough, it's actually going to be interacting with another system that we have out that same way, Hurricane Humberto, still out in the central Atlantic. And these are going to start to kind of cross paths as well, these storms. And both of them together definitely contributing to that ocean swelling. It's going to be kind of twofold because it's not just one system. You're seeing two different tropical cyclones in the western Atlantic. So that they're definitely going to have some pretty dangerous conditions possible on the East Coast, even though we're not seeing direct landfall, heavy rainfall, strong winds, and things like that, rip currents. That's going to be a big deal.
I have a quick question before you go to some of our local forecasts. So we were talking about Gabrielle a long time ago, and I see it just off over there. Are they having like crazy rain like we're seeing kind of with Imelda?
So this is what we call a post-tropical cyclone. That means that it is weaker than tropical storm strength. Storm. This is actually weaker than tropical depression, but once a storm is named, the name never goes away.
Okay.
So even as it loses all of its tropical properties, like what the system has, yes, it's still Gabrielle. It's just Storm Gabrielle right now.
Storm Gabrielle, not Hurricane Gabrielle. Or whatever we were, because she got up to a 4.
It was certainly a major hurricane.
It was major at one point.
It's hard to remember I should know the exact strength by now. I think it definitely was major. I think it was a category 4.
I think it was a 4. I'm going to do a little Google search real quick. I think it was a 4.
Real quick verify that.
I think you were helping me last week. This is how good Anae is. We were in the middle of a newscast, and I was asking her questions about what the hurricane was doing, and I was updating as we were going. So Anae knows what she's talking about. I promise y'all. This is the one time I've caught her off guard in all of the time we've worked together.
We've been looking at these other hurricanes. Humberto was a 5 yesterday. The Pete strength, yes, category 4. Okay. I remember category 4.
You're so smart.
That's what Gabrielle was. Every storm that we've seen in the Atlantic so far has the major hurricanes the hurricanes that we've seen. They've pretty much all been major out in the Atlantic. But
they're not hooking the way we typically see them.
Yes, we've been fortunate that because of the position of high pressure out in the central Atlantic, the storms are turning before they make landfall. But this storm, its track is kind of more similar to what we saw earlier in the season with Aaron, with the
where
rainfall.
It came really close and just kind of followed up the coast.
Yes, that heavy rainfall. That is certainly something that we are going to be watching, even though Imelda is kind of veering east sooner because it's interacting with Humberto. The storms,
I gotcha. They're just pulling each other.
Yes, we have that is a phenomenon that we sometimes see with storms out in the Atlantic. But overall, here, thankfully, we are not getting impacted by that. The Gulf Coast is not seeing a system move towards it. And because of that, central Mississippi, we're going to remain dry, actually. Lots of sunshine, a little bit of cloud cover. Tomorrow, pretty similar to today, just slightly warmer. We saw that some spots reached 90 today. We could possibly be 92 tomorrow. We're going to stick around to those upper 80s to low 90s for the next couple of days. But thankfully, the fall-like conditions are coming back. We're going to be back in those mid-80s by the end of the week. So it is going to feel a little bit more comfortable. Rain chances staying pretty close to where they are now, slightly above 0. So we're going to have some isolated showers possible at the end of our forecast period. Otherwise, mostly dry weather. So not great for the drought monitor, But great for the state fair that's coming up on Thursday.
Absolutely. All right. All those great things are happening. Again, we're still in the 85s, 86. I mean, I'm not going to complain about 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, especially since we've been seeing a lot of heat waves. But I actually have something to update you. You already need to be thinking about the Christmas season. I know that's kind of crazy and it might be hard for you to do when it's 86 degrees.
Yes. Yeah.
But, Anae, guess what's coming up?
The lights.
The Magic of Lights.
Yes.
Now, the Magic of Lights, we are 2 months away from returning to the Magic of Lights at the Brandon Amphitheater. The longest light tunnel in the Magnolia State will be back in town from November 21st through January 3rd. I know those people who are against, going to Christmas things before Thanksgiving events. I say humbug, but humbug. As a person named Holly, I have every right to say that. And that's Nate agreeing with me on the side, as you may hear him on the side. But again, the event partners with WLBT and Entergy, and that showcase again at the Brandon Amphitheater. And there's festive treats, photo opportunities, and even you can meet with Santa. So you can get that list in super early. You don't want those good toys to be built and sent off to somebody else. You want those good gifts. So you want to come early and get your list to Santa. And you can get your tickets by clicking on this story on our website, WLBT.com. And as Nate was making fun of me about the holidays already.
I want to say something, though. That video right there, that was shot by me.
That really was?
Yeah, it actually was.
Did you enjoy it last year?
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was, in Purvis, where I'm from, we used to have something kind of similar, but nothing like that. I mean, it's incredible. It's an entire experience. Great for the family. So, yeah, I tell everyone, go to it.
Even for the adults. I went one year, and I took my sister, who's like, oh my gosh, she might have been 22 at the time. We were just like driving through, trying, pay attention when you're driving. Yes. But it's super nice.
It's cool. So awesome.
But Nate isn't here just to talk about Christmas and holiday lights. He's here to talk about the Saints, which had an incredible game today, by the way.
Yes, they showed up. Obviously, for my Saints fans, we know what happened last week. This week, there was a lot of conversation of, oh my goodness, we looked really bad against the Seahawks. Now you're playing possibly the best team in the league. How are they going to look? They had the biggest, they were the biggest underdogs coming into this week. But I will say it was so nice to see the team play hard. Obviously, early on, we did see the Bills' offense. They were rolling, and there was a sense of, oh, my goodness, this is going to happen again. This is really about to happen again. But then we saw that Saints offense really go out there on their first drive and move the ball. We saw them run the ball really well today. Look at that. Kendre Miller breaking like 3 or 4 or 5 tackles right there. And I'm loving this. If y'all remember and if y'all watch Beyond the End Zone, I have said get that guy the ball a lot more. I love Alvin Kamara, but it's great to have a 2-man backfield. But this was the offense. The Bills' offense was really special early on. But then it got a little stagnant. This was a tough play, but an incredible play by the defender right there. Not the biggest fan of the play call, but if you remember, Kellen Moore is coming from Philly. That's the Philly special.
They like the trick play.
Yes, likes the trick. I like to see him. Wasn't the biggest fan of it there, but then we see Josh Allen come in late, and Josh Allen is Josh Allen. It's impossible not to just be amazed with what everything he does. And then, but I'll tell you, when you look at this game, right, we're talking about a Spencer Rattler. We're talking about a team that's 0-4, first time since 2012. They're 0-4. There's a lot of things to not be happy about. But if you watch this game, there was a moment, there was multiple actually, where you're saying, oh my gosh, we could actually win this game. The Saints could actually win this game. Obviously, they didn't pull it off late. The Bills kind of just showed off their talent late. This drive right here, this was the kind of just the backbreaker right here. A 4-play drive, 60 yards. Capped off by a wide open Dalton Kincaid for the touchdown. That one really was the backbreaker for the Saints. They had a chance once again after that to get in the end zone, but they could not quite get it in. But, when you look at this game and you're breaking it down and you look at the stats, there's a lot of good. You asked me last week, is there anything good coming out of this game? Can you take anything away out of this game? And I was like, today, the biggest thing is the Saints dedicated to the run game. They were dedicated to it. They ran the ball very comfortably and a lot. That was something, when you have a Spencer Rattler in here, everyone calling him the vet. He's only a second-year player, right?
Yeah, I don't know if you're a vet.
He's a vet in the room because he's technically the oldest guy in the room, right? He's actually not the oldest guy. The rookie's actually older, but he's got more experience. But when you saw them dedicate themselves to the run, we got to see all these guys that have wheels really show off. Alvin Kamara finished with 71 yards. Kendre Miller, we saw with that touchdown, 65 yards. Rattler, we saw his legs once again. It was the most rushing yards he's had in an NFL game. He had 49. So, and he used them effectively. So when you're looking at this game, there's a lot of good things you could actually take out of this game. The concern is still the defense, I will say. They really could not stop the run game. That was a real concern for the Saints all game. James Cook, now, if y'all don't know him, and this was the first time you got to see him, now you know. This guy, James Cook, their running back, he got paid this offseason. He is so special in the backfield for the Bills, But looking ahead, right, the Saints now have a little bit of an easier trek in front of them. We talked about how, back-to-back games against the Seattle Seahawks on the road, Buffalo Bills on the road. That's just tough. That's tough for any team in the NFL, let alone a team that's kind of still figuring themselves out. Now they get the Giants this coming up week. Now the Giants, they got a big win this week. Jackson Dart got his first career start.
I saw that.
Yes.
Pretty excited if you're an Ole Miss fan.
Right? That exactly. But first, they beat the undefeated Chargers. That's an incredible win. That may have just saved Brian Daboll's job, making that decision to move to him. Now, I didn't see his stats, but I imagine he played pretty well. Right. So you like to see that. But now the Saints back at home, get the Giants. That's a winnable game. Yeah. Try and get that first one under your belt. I feel like this is there's no moral victories in football. There's no moral victories in sports. But you can kind of see Kellen Moore coming into his own, dedicating to the run there. There was a lot more. There was not as many penalties. That was a big issue throughout these first four games, or first 3 games coming into this one, was the penalties for the Saints. We did not see that as much. The Bills had more penalties than the Saints, actually. And even Sean McDermott, the Bills coach, said they outplayed us today. They really did. And the Saints just missed out on a couple opportunities. And once again, it comes down to that talent. When you look at the Saints roster, obviously the starters, there's a bunch of guys you see and you're like, oh, I know that guy. But where's the depth?
Right.
And that's the problem. The Saints finally come into this game with their offensive line that was their starters, right? At the beginning of the season, they give out their starting depth chart. All year they haven't had an offensive line, all 5 of them in. They finally come into this game with it. Now, we did see Cesar Ruiz leave the game for an injury, but yes, but that was the big thing with the run game. We actually saw it run because I think the offensive line is finally in place. So the depth's still an issue, but the Saints, when you look ahead, they got a good little stretch here where they can win some games.
Absolutely, super excited if you're a Saints fan, because at home with the Giants, that's very doable, as you mentioned.
Yeah, Giants fans, now they travel. I've been out there to a Saints Giants game. They travel, but Saints fans need to show up. This is a moment where we can get this first win under their belt, and hopefully they can do it.
All right, I think they can do it.
Hopefully,
we're gonna do all the what are they called? Like the superstitions, where it's like you keep your hands up for 20 seconds. I don't know. We're going to do all the stuff to make sure that they win next
Got to wear the right pair of socks.
I know. Yep. I'm like, do you have a right pair of socks? I was like, I don't know any superstitions.
Fun story. I got a great one. Fun story. Saints related too. Obviously, y'all know I'm a Saints fan. When at our gosh, right? At home, we used to have a little Christmas tree that was a Saints Christmas tree, right?
You did?
Yes.
Interesting.
And if we did not turn it on before the game, my brother would lose it. He said that's a guaranteed loss. So we had to turn on, even if we're going to the game, if it's a road game, if we're not at the house, that tree had to stay on for a Saints game. So that's a fun little superstition for you.
All right, there you go. So turn the tree on, Nate, because otherwise the Saints aren't going to beat the Giants.
I texted my mom this morning.
All right, thank you all for joining us on your Sunday evening for your news, weather, and sports recap. Have a great rest of your night.